What is a movie where the bad guys won? Not exactly the same, but in the original Planet of the Apes series, nobody wins in any of them. Says 7en. Nightcrawler. Fallen. Empire Strikes Back. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Hereditary. Terminator 3. John's lieutenants all get killed and Skynet nukes everyone despite John's efforts. The Usual Suspects. No Country for Old Men. 2012. All the rich people escaped on the arks while the rest of humanity drowned. Funny Games. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Watchmen. Prometheus, technically. Oldboy. Midsommar. The community continues happily with their new member. Rambo. Those cops were the bad guys, abusing their power over him and setting off his points. Life 2017, and possibly The Thing 1982, depending on how you interpret the ending. Despicable Me. The Jungle Book. Shere Khan died and Mowgli burnt the entire jungle, proving Shere Khan's deep mistrust and hatred for man correct. Skeleton Key. The Ring. Inception. In the end, they scammed Cillian Murphy into splitting the company exactly as intended. A Clockwork Orange. Subjectively. Alex 699321 was a murdering raper criminal, but he only won because the government entities who tried to enact brainwashing behavior control failed. Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. Avengers Infinity War. Chinatown. The Strangers. Gone Girl. Swordfish. Saw. Hannibal 2001. The ending was not as peculiar as in the book, but it definitely still was in Hannibal's favor. The Bad Guys. Brightburn. Fallen. Arlington Road. 12 Monkeys. The Big Short. Eden Lake. I stopped watching movies for a while because of that movie. Mainly because of how infuriating the bad parenting is. Frailty. Cabin in D.A. Woods. A Bridge Too Far. Zodiac. I asked ChatGPT and it said, The Matrix. 1984. Buried 2010. Ryan Reynolds definitely wasn't saved in the end. Don't Look Up. I just watched Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Indy survives, but he definitely doesn't win. Titanic, if an iceberg counts as a guy. Smile. Karate Kid, Damn You LaRusso. Peter Pan. Starship Troopers. Ex Machina. The Departed, if I remember correctly. 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. Inside Man. Dawn of the Dead. The Dark Knight. Smokey and the Bandit had us rooting for the criminals and booing the law. The outlaws definitely won in the end. I think in Captain America Civil War, the bad guy won. Arlington Road. The Wicker Man. Us. The Founder, such a perfectly dreadful ending. He wasn't the bad guy of the movie, but he was definitely the bad guy in the situation, and IRL, you decide if that counts. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where Grandpa Joe gets told he too is allowed to move and inherit the factory with Charlie. Natural-born killers. Terrifier. Threads. The Social Network. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Also, pretty much every zombie movie ever implies that in the end, the zombies win. The Descent 2005. In the end, the only survivor crawls and breaks through the dirt and into the outside world. Runs to her car, covered in blood, and begins driving. Only to look to her left and see the ghost of her dead friend. And then she wakes up, back in the cave. In the bone pile. With no way to escape. As the growls and screams of the creatures draw closer. Yes, and before someone says actually in the shekel, she actually survives. No, the sequel was retconned. The original ending is where she dies. Harry Potter 4-6. Identity. Birth of a Nation. Alien Covenant. The Great Silence. Oh gosh. You ever see Funny Games? If you haven't, don't. It's horrific. Glory. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I know we're supposed to root for Ferris, but watching the movie now as adult I'm thinking he breaks all the rules and gets away with it. How is that fair? What message does this send? The Descent. Brokeback Mountain, just cause a man who was gay was beaten and killed BC of it without consequence.